Well, hey, Gundam Maniacs, welcome to another episode of Gundam Explained. You know, this episode I wanted to talk about our first Gunpla, what it was, where we got it, and how that led into our love of Gundam. And I'm going to talk about that here with the real grade unicorn, although I found out that there was another Gunpla I built before that, not even knowing it was Gundam, but I'll get to that near the end. All right, so to get started, yes, my first was the real grade unicorn. So what was yours and what grade was it? And I got it at GameStop, so this was about 2019. I was in GameStop. I was planning to get some sort of robot model kit anyway. I wanted to get one for my youngest so we could just build a robot model kit. That's all. I like robots and building something. I thought that would be cool. And when I was in GameStop, I saw this, and to be honest, because it's real grade and it's so detailed, I just saw something that was super detailed and looked awesome to build, and I was like, okay, well, I'll get something like this. This thing looks insane. And when we did start building it, you know, my youngest wasn't too into it, so I was like, you know what, I'll continue it on my own. And having my first Gunpla be the real grade and building a real grade, it was an incredible experience. Still, since building this full armor, real grade unicorn, I haven't come across a kit that's actually been as interesting or as fun. I will say a lot of times high grades, they're just a little too simple, and sometimes that can be a little boring. I even say with master grades, since they are so big, I wouldn't even say they have the detail necessarily scaled up as a real grade. They just maybe have more things in general. But the build was pretty amazing. I forget, it probably took me a few days, over a period of a few days, and just all the little components were insane to me, especially the real type markings. You know, the red decals that you see all over the full armor unicorn. I remember going to put those on and thinking, oh my God, this is so tedious, this is insane, but I got to put on the next one, the next one. The hardest part was the V-fin in the gold. I think the first one I attempted to put on, it was the transformable one, and I had, tried to put the gold sticker on and I messed that up, so luckily there was the other fixed version I was able to put on. And I gotta say, I still think this is a badass Gunpla, but also Gundam design in general. I mean, I guess for me, I like some of the older stuff, but it's like as I've gotten more and more into Gundam, I can like look at the unicorn and really appreciate, this is a really cool, modernized, futuristic, super sci-fi interpretation of the original Gundam. If the original Gundam was, hey, let's just get a real robot out there fighting wars, I feel like the unicorn is more on the edge of that sci-fi technology. So, as one would, I go to watch Gundam Unicorn on Netflix. I think at the time it was Netflix. And it was pretty bad. I thought, man, this is overly dramatic. I don't know what they're talking about. But obviously that changed. After Unicorn, I was like, well, let me start then with the first. And then I even remember thinking around that time that, okay, so the next kit I get should have the one with the V-fin. Like that was in my mind, even though I don't think at the time I was calling it a V-fin. I just knew, okay, that's the main robot, right? So the next one I got was the narrative, was it the Apex? I forget, the one with the long extensions. But from that understanding, okay, there's some legacy to this, I'll just go start with the first Gundam. And I did. I watched through the original and I was shocked how much I enjoyed it. And then I go to watch Zeta Gundam, and then I'm even more shocked. And at the same time, I'm watching Victory, because that was, I think, like free on YouTube at the time, and watching that, and I'm like, well, that is great. And I know some people don't like Victory, but I love it. So it was very interesting, the roadblocks along the way when getting into Gundam, that I still something kept me going. And I'll add to this by telling a little bit more about the past. So in 2015, I was at GameStop and saw a robot model kit, and I guess I had this thing for that. I was like, you know what, I'll just buy this robot model kit. I remember building it and not thinking too much of it, and then just giving it to the kids. And it was, if I remember the name correctly, like Hirakui or Hirakui, similar to the Hyakushiki, but not. Anyway, it's from 00. It seems to look more like something out of Metal Gear Solid, except it has like this big shoulder-based backpack, and that doesn't have a Gundam look to it. That just has a kind of a neat robot look to it. But I just remember buying it, building it, putting it together. I was like, this thing seems cheap. So that kind of kept me away then from going back to robot model kits. Isn't that pretty interesting? IBO high grade, this isn't fun. But Unicorn real grade, That's what really got me into Gundam. You know, so looking back then, the first kit that really got me into Gundam being this Unicorn Gundam. Not knowing the story, but just appreciating this white mecha that has tons of interesting panel lines that actually open up to expose an inner frame. You know, that's pretty interesting stuff, especially just mechanically as a Gunpla, something I was building. I loved how intricate, how involved it was, both for building and the transformation. And then the accessories and the weapons. We have, you know, those thrusters on the back, which really evoke kind of the NASA punk look, right? And it really helps sell the sci-fi mecha idea, as well as all the weapons all over. You got the Gatling guns, you got the missile launchers, the rockets, you got the beam javelin or beam tomahawk, whatever all that is. I mean, there's just so much going on here that this is still, to me, like my favorite Gunpla specifically. So I wonder if next I should build the Verka or the Master Grade. Back to the whole, what was your first Gunpla that got you into Gundam and where you got it? Leave that in the comments. I'm curious what the Gunpla is, because was it a certain grade that sold you? Was it a certain design? And then from there, did that get you into a game or a show? And then where did you get it? I'm always curious where Bandai has these things available in North America. I'm surprised it took GameStop to get me into Gundam, so that's interesting. Although, as another aside, at a GameStop, or maybe it was called EB Games or Funkoland, that's where I bought Rise from the Ashes on the Dreamcast, not knowing it was Gundam, just that it was a badass mecha robot game. So Gundam has always been there in the background for me. It's very interesting. And shout out to the supporters that make this possible. If that's something you're into, check the links in the description below. There's also the YouTube memberships. Check that out if you're interested. There's also a link below for the Discord. We have a lot of fun there showing off our Gunpla and our builds. But until next time, be cool.